Welcome back to the Pathways Podcast. Today we are joined by Liliana Nicole, who
Hello.
wears a lot of hats and lives a lot of lives, and we are about to find out how she manages all of that. Let's get started.
Yes, hello. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself, your age, and your job titles?
Yeah, sure. I have a lot of job titles. That's actually really funny. But hi, I am Liliana Nicole Maldonado Feliciano for anyone that cares. Thank you. I currently technically, if you asked me, do 3 to 4 jobs. And I say that because my primary one is I work with Clear at the airport. So there are always those people selling you like the skip the line membership and things like that. And the reason I work there is because I am a marketing major. So I like the sales component of that because I am thinking of specializing in the sales portion or digital marketing, social media marketing of marketing. I also do massages on the side. I learned that skill when I was 17 to 18. So I have my own clientele. I do at-home mobile massages. And then I also do modeling on social media and just social media influencing, things like that, all while being a full-time student at UNT.
Wow, I didn't even know about the massage part. That's crazy.
Yeah, I was like, let me just throw that in there.
Yeah, no, for sure. First thing I want to get into is, like you mentioned, you do modeling. So
Mhm.
how did you get into modeling?
Okay, so where I'm from in Puerto Rico, like modeling is such like a big thing, especially with like Miss Universe, MGC, things like that. It's so funny because like when I was a kid in elementary, I was more tomboy. So my
Yeah.
mom like forcibly put me in modeling classes. So I had some experience there from years ago. But then I like quit that because it was super expensive. And with the modeling industry, you do have to be careful. I feel like sometimes they try to take advantage of kids and things like that. And then I moved to Texas, but I did always love watching YouTubers, influencers, and stuff like that when I was a kid. And I was like, I want to be that. I know I want to be that. And so when I was 16, it was during COVID too. Like, I realized I wasn't happy pursuing what I was pursuing because I was going for that biology, like medical route, because I do love to help people and I love to help. And I think, like, I was raised in a very conservative family where you have to do, like, either doctor, lawyer, things like that but I wasn't happy. Um, and I didn't really like the whole 8 years of school, things like that. But I really loved creating. I had a creative side, and I think I was just trying to shut it away because of that traditional mindset that they instill, right? And so I was like, how to become a millionaire. Like I started Googling all these things. And millionaire is probably like far, far away for a dream, but I wanted to have a source of income where I was fully independent in it and I was able to be creative and flexible and also kind of like a digital diary, right? So I started creating just social media posts, like try to be this influencer wannabe or whatever, and just share my life because I also felt as a kid growing up, I wish I had an idol that was like me. And I thought, how can I be that for other people? And then when I came into college at UNT, I had already had like a portfolio, I guess, because of how I created and took my own photos. And I started to network a lot. And then just photographers started finding my account. Especially when you have a public account on Instagram, it's very easy to find someone through hashtags, things like that. And at first, a lot of it was free, or like unpaid, right? And then I would say a year into it, like I started to focus on people that were investing in me even though I'm not runway, even though I'm not 6 foot, even though I'm not like the stereotypical model, but I was still getting paid. So I knew I had potential. And so I focused on working with creatives with a similar mindset. And that's kind of how I've gotten into Instagram paid modeling, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. That's a very interesting story. I really
Mm-hmm.
liked, talking about how
Mm-hmm.
you wanted to fulfill your
Mm-hmm.
creative ambitions. Yeah. Looking at your social media, I see you travel a lot alongside your modeling career.
I do, yes.
So, um, what makes you want to go out and see the world, and how do you afford it?
I am very fortunate, I will say, that my dad works for American. So
Mm.
I get benefits to fly standby up until a certain age. That's just one cost of the whole picture, right? So how do I do it? Why do I do it? I've always been a very go-getter child since I was a kid. And I was always told from my family that I wanted things my way or the highway.
Yeah.
I didn't like staying put. I don't like being in a bubble. And I actually always dreamed. I mean, I love my island and I love my country. I'm from Puerto Rico, right? Like we're beautiful. We have beaches and things like that. So why would I want to leave? And I will admit there's things I took for granted back home too. But I always knew I wanted to get out of there because Puerto Rico had its own bubble when I was a kid. And I knew there was more to life than just that bubble. I was always fascinated with just different cultures, traveling abroad, learning from the people around me. Um, because as a kid too, I felt like, why can't the world just be at peace? And so I wanted to see the world with my own eyes to try and gather that too. I didn't get to travel a lot till now, but I knew that I wanted to see the world. So my biggest advice is to see it because one, there's that saying of like every destination you don't travel to is like you're refusing to open another book, right? So every destination is a new chapter in your life. You learn more than what you learn in the classroom, right? So that's another thing I wanted to do is like not just learn like textbook stuff, but like learn customs, why people do things, why is the world the way it is. And it just opens you and your mind to things you never thought it would. Um, and it makes you realize there's so much more to life than what you think. And especially with me, like I do a lot. So I do tend to get very stressed, and these travels serve for me as a way to recharge. Um, how I do it, I do get to fly for free when I can. And when I cannot, my biggest advice to college students is take advantage of travel credit cards because you are always spending money in some way, shape, or form. And you can actually transfer miles between credit cards to maximize your value. And choose wisely what you want to spend money on and choose destinations that have a lot of free stuff. Because, for example, like when I went to Korea for the first time, I was very fortunate. I got to fly standby there and back. So I saved money on the flight, which is typically the most expensive portion of that trip. But once you're there, I didn't care about like staying in a fancy Airbnb, but I cared about seeing as many places as possible in as little time as possible and public transport. So you want to travel to places with public transport because you're going to save way more money on a train and on a bus than like Uber, right? So try to choose places that you can easily get around for $12. Like South Korea has a travel pass where you can use almost all public transport in Seoul for $12 a week.
Wow.
And yeah, so like I was able to get around easy for $12. My Airbnb was like maybe 30 a night. And people there are willing to help you. So that's how I do it. I guess it's like I always find what's free and if not what's affordable and try to fulfill myself not with like materialistic things but experiences because when I travel like I want to go there and remember like wow I did that like
Mhm.
I do buy a lot of souvenirs that I bring back with me but if I do they're cheap too. Also put your money in a high yield savings account because it makes money for you and think in the way that you're only young once. So you're only going to get to do this once. When there's an opportunity, I take it, right? So for example, like I wanted to go to Korea and the time that I did was the only time that I could. And I knew it was going to be around 3,000. So I set aside maybe $50 every paycheck, something like that, put in a high yield saving, makes money for me, use my travel credit cards, boom, we're out. And use public transport. You want to look at weather, when things are expensive, things like that. Um, and every time I think I may regret a trip, I tell myself I won't because at least it's a new destination and a new chapter learned in my life, if that makes sense. I
Yeah.
hope that answers the question.
Yeah, no, that was great.
Hmm.
You do seems like you do a lot of research on where you want to travel before.
Yes,
Would you,
and
would you
sorry.
ever stay in a hostel? I have a question.
I would. The reason I haven't in my recent stays is I'm usually traveling with someone already. So
Yeah.
like I'll stay with them. I am a bit of a clean freak.
Yeah.
So I do like a very clean space. However, I would stay in a hostel and I actually encourage you to meet people outside your country. But I would encourage it just be obviously precautious, but honestly 9 times out of 10 people abroad um are experiencing life for the first time like you are. And the reason I say that is because like for example, or even like locals too, like everyone told me like, "Oh, Korea's so racist. Korean people are so mean." Korea had some of the kindest people I ever met. If anything, like the mean people were like the tourists cuz like there
Wow.
was one night where I was lost and I knew how to use the transport but my phone died and there
Mhm.
was like no outlet, nothing. And I needed to get back home. And I was like, I just need help. Like I'm only 30 minutes away. And I asked these foreigners that very clearly spoke English, could y'all mind like helping me get home? Y'all have a charger? They were like, no. I was like, okay. They were like, I can write the directions down for you, but that doesn't work in Korea because sometimes it'll tell you like take bus B, but there's a bus B going two different directions. So
Right.
and the reason I got lost multiple times is like you have to like look at your phone and like hold it, see where you're going. And I did have the help of a security guard because I was in Namsam Tower, right? And he literally escorted me all the way home. He still willingly went out of his way to help me. And I think
Yeah.
like you have to realize when you're traveling, most of the time people are there experiencing things for the first time. And if you're going to a country that's known for its kind people, you'll be okay. Don't let like other people's experiences be your experience. And that's what I told my best friend too, because like I went because she was studying abroad in Korea.
Mm.
And I remember before she went, she's like, I'm not sure I want to go because like everyone's mean. I'm like, girl, you can't let other people's past experiences or like generalizations determine that for you.
For sure.
And her experience didn't end up being like that at all. Maybe
Right.
like a small fraction, but like it was probably just being in the wrong environment, and you can't let like one person's encounter determine your experience with the entire country. When you use social media earlier, you can also stay in places for free through social media. So if you start a social media career, you can do what's called travel UGC. So you partner with an Airbnb, you partner with a hotel, you partner with a hostel to create content for them, and you can possibly stay there for free or get paid for it even. So that's another great way that I travel a lot. I make content, I make travel content, and that travel content is with the purpose of landing better opportunities. So I forgot to mention that earlier. And how do I travel so often? I literally make content that helps me get there. If
That's
that makes
crazy.
sense.
That's
It
crazy.
is. Yeah, it takes a lot of work,
I
but
gotta keep that in mind next time. I
mhm,
want to travel somewhere. I always
mhm,
try and just stay with family. I'll be like, do
mhm,
I have family in like San Francisco? Oh, I have family in Oakland. That's close
mhm,
enough. Stuff like
mhm.
that. But well, my next question I gotta ask is like, what inspired you to get a marketing degree? I think you talked about this a little bit before, but
Yes. So, like I said, I do like helping people,
yeah,
and I like helping. But I found myself very unhappy pursuing like a doctor role because like everyone was always like, you should be a nurse, you should be a psychiatrist. I got told so many things because I get told that I have a very like calm, welcoming energy, and that I'm very healing. And so I was like, I want to save people's lives and things like that. However, chemistry was not for me. Physics was certainly not for me. And I was just not happy because I felt like I was putting so much work for a little reward. And granted, that's also because of the geography we're in. I think like if you were to pursue medicine in a different country, your experience might be different. But I was not happy pursuing that here. And so I thought, how can I still help people in a more flexible and creative way? And being a doctor, you can't really do that because you're saving lives, you're working night shifts, you're working long hours. Just same with
especially if you have your own practice. Yeah.
exactly, and especially if you're and same. I was like, okay, maybe I'll be a lawyer. Same thing. Like, I didn't like the lack of flexibility of these roles, and so it was also COVID, and I realized like I don't think I could survive in those high stress environments because I have a limit too, and I don't. I know myself. Like, I'd rather not put myself in a role I cannot handle.
Yeah.
Right. So I got into researching, and at the time everyone was like hyping up marketing, and I was like, okay, let me see. And I found myself that I was already kind of doing it without realizing, like I just was creating content, right? And so maybe I wasn't doing it the best way, but if I learned how, marketing is not just a selfish role.
Yeah.
I like to think that it's also a very selfless career because there's that saying of you can have a great purpose, product, or service, and if you don't know how to market it, it's not going anywhere. So let's say you really, really want to market a donation drive.
Mhm.
If you don't market it, you're not going to get donations.
It's true.
If you have a really great medical device that just went out and you don't market it well, you're not going to save lives. So I really liked that concept of marketing where it can be applied to so many industries and you can still help others too and like help yourself too.
Yeah.
And it's flexible. You can
Yeah.
do it from anywhere, everywhere. And it's so creative and it's a career where I also thought AI couldn't really affect it. Not that it's not affecting it, because there's definitely people that are misusing AI And I'll admit, like, I sometimes use AI as a tool. However, I always like to say AI can't replace human connection. And I feel that marketing really helps give human connection. And through my content, I really try to reach people's hearts. So that's what made me choose marketing instead of like a traditional career. It's like I wanted to still be happy and create a better life for myself and my future generation too. Because not that I came from like a horrible upbringing, right? I am very grateful my mom raised me alone as a single mom, but I did struggle a lot. Like, I mean, at Puerto Rico, the reason I ended up having to move is because of Hurricane Maria. It destroyed everything, and my family had like nothing. And I knew that I, as an adult, wanted to make sure that I could have a backup plan, a safety plan, enough funds. My dad also had a lot of debt. And I just didn't grow up like not horrendously, but definitely like I remember coming to Texas and I was like, this is y'all standard of living. Like I grew up without power, without water. I had to accept sometimes going a little hungry, things like that. Yeah, and so I just didn't want to grow up like that. And my mom was a lawyer, so it's not that she wasn't in a bad career. It's just that I feel like those careers, they're always painted as so beautiful, but there's actually a lot of drawbacks to them too. You know what I mean? And especially if you work for the federal government, like right now, for example, TSA is not getting paid. Federal workers are not getting paid. So I knew I didn't want to do that either.
Yeah, no, that was a very good answer. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So you mentioned earlier how you work. I mean, you work at the airport with Clear.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So I was very fortunate. I actually got that job through my connections through social media too, right? So I am very, very close with a photographer of mine. Love him. I remember I was struggling because that's another thing too. Like everyone I connect with, I try to genuinely keep a connection with, but I'll definitely try my best to like be authentic and be honest, right? We were shooting and I was like, oh man, I'm actually like really struggling. Like I don't have a job right now. And I was just modeling and massaging, but it wasn't stable yet, right? And he was like, I know someone, I could hook you up. I got that role right away. With that in mind, I told myself I really have to excel here because I got the privilege to be here. And he knew that I was in marketing and he knew that sales is maybe just a fraction of marketing, but he knew that it was a better paying job than what I had before. It's only 18 an hour. However, you have opportunity to make commission. It's a very flexible schedule. You get free clear. And you get benefits even if you're part-time, such as 401k, insurance, etc. And so it is. It's so I was
Especially in
like,
this economy.
Exactly. So I was like, I'll take it. And you can work anytime. So long as you're good at your job is what I like to say, right? So that's how I ended up at Clear. I've been there for over a year now. I'm very grateful for him. I am already trying to expand somewhere more concentrated in what I do because I want to do more social media.
Yeah.
But I like it not just because it's a sales and marketing role, but I'm working at an airport and I love to travel. So the other bonus too is when you work at the airport, you have a badge, right? I get discounts at DFW airport. So
like at the McDonald's and stuff?
Yeah, so if I want to get food, So I saw it as a win-win situation. Like as someone that loves to travel, I get free clear, I get discounts,
That's
and
what I
then
would like.
exactly, and it's very flexible. And you get to stay up to date and you learn everything about the airport too. So you travel better, right? So I know when it's the busy time, when it's the not busy time, what checkpoint to go through, what to do and what not to do. But I will say right now it's a little sad to work at the airport because we are dealing a lot with like self-deportations, people getting deported by ICE, right? So the other day I felt really sad. He was a Cuban passenger and he came to me and he was like trying to fly. He already had a flight and everything. And he doesn't read English. He doesn't understand English. And everyone thinks like, oh, Lily, he could have been acting. I'm like, maybe. But like, I felt for him, you know? I don't think like he was guilty of anything. And he was trying to flee Cuba's like situation. And he flew from Cuba to Michigan somehow, or somehow he made it to Michigan. And then from Michigan, he somehow made it to Texas. And he thought this paper he had was a travel permit. And I read it to him. I'm like, no, this is a paper saying that ICE took away your passport. And it was signed by a deportation officer.
That's
and
insane.
It is. It's sad. Yeah, and I told him, you need to be careful. Like, they're after you. And he had been given a card saying he was under extreme supervision. And I interviewed him. I'm like, have you committed a crime? He's like, no. So, and again, maybe he could have been guilty and he's faking it. But I really doubted it. I really did because if he had been trying to do harm, he would have had more on him, you know? And then same the other day, we had a Venezuelan national self-deport. And it's just things like that that are kind of sad. But that's how I ended up at Clear. It's like I wanted to learn. And you meet so many people from around the world at the airport too. You run into people sometimes you run into influencers and like business owners. Yeah, it's crazy. But we've seen like football players, basketball players, just all sorts of people.
Yeah.
But besides that, you meet and you hear stories that are very touching to the heart. People are flying for the first time. Maybe they're going to a funeral. And I think that's what's kept me at Clear. It's like you never know who you're going to run into.
Right.
And you get a lot of opportunities from working at the airport. So, yeah.
Okay, and then here's another question. How do you switch between your roles as a student, model, masseuse, and airport worker?
Wow, that's a great question, especially because I'm an introvert at heart, believe it or not. Like
Really?
a lot of people are like, you yap so much. I'm like, yes, because I'm a yapper when I feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And I've trained myself to be a yapper. They teach you that in the RCOP School of Business. Like, sometimes you have to train yourself to seem like you're good at something when in your heart, it's actually not who you are, right? So, and I don't want to like say that to say like I'm fake, right? I'm still authentic. And so with doing so much, I have to switch my brain a lot. I would be lying to you if I told you I don't burn out. I do.
Yeah.
Especially like recently I've been dealing with moving and everything like that. So it's just like a lot. But I guess I try to think that I'm always going to be a different version to everyone. And I have to turn on and turn off the switch. And I try not to merge too many things in the same day or same time frame. So for example, right now my schedule is Monday through Wednesday I have school. I try not to get clients. I try not to do anything work related those days because that's when I do my homework and that's when I focus.
Yeah.
Fridays, Sundays, that's work. So I try not to have anything that's not work related on those days. Sometimes I do procrastinate, but I'll still try to keep it after work.
We're all human.
Yeah. And then like when I'm at work, I go into work mindset. Obviously, I try to be very amicable with everyone. Not everyone's very amicable with me.
Yeah. Especially at the airport, I bet.
Oh, yeah. And sometimes it's your own coworkers. But more of the story is I try not to mix things. And I try to surround myself with people that encourage me to grow. But you have to believe in yourself to achieve those things. Because not everyone's going to believe in you, but you have to have your own back. And then just be real. Yes, have a good friend and be realistic with your limits. So I always push myself, but if I feel like this is where the line is drawn, then I draw the line, right? So, and then Thursdays and Saturdays, I don't have work those days, but I try to keep those as my modeling or client days. Every time my schedule switches, but I write it down, I put it on a calendar, and I surround myself with people that encourage me to grow. And I just try to tell myself, like, just because you're a different version to this person doesn't mean that that's not some part of you, right? Because maybe you just know me as, like, Liliana, and she's really cool to interview. And I'm in New U.S. Cooper, this dude, like, I met at the protest, and he's super cool, right? So, but nonetheless, that is a version of you that exists not just for them, but for you, right? So you don't have to... I try not to think it as like you're splitting yourself. You're just giving one version of you to this person that still completes you, if that makes sense.
That's true. It's like a fraction.
It's just a fraction of you.
Yeah.
Also sleep and eat well.
So do you have any advice for just people who want to do more in their life and want to like fill multiple roles in their life? And what would you say to them?
Start one step at a time. So write it down. What do you want to do? Who do you want to become? Where do you see yourself 5-10 years from now? And it doesn't have to be perfect, because I used to be so hyperfixated of I'm going to do this when I'm this age. And some of it has come true, some of it hasn't.
Yeah.
Things happen, right? And surround yourself with people, like I said, that are going to encourage that. Do not surround yourself with jealous people. Sure. Never. And don't surround yourself with people that are negative, limiting, any bad juju. You need to cut that out. You're 20, you're grown, that person has to get a life. Instead, focus on the people that foster that. And also watch people that are doing what you want to do. Learn from them. You're not always the smartest in the room, and that's okay, right? And sometimes you are. And if so, serve as a leader for those people, but I don't know everything. So when I see someone that knows something I want to learn, I follow them. I go with their flow. Be realistic with yourself to an extent, and set little goals, one step at a time. So, for example, today I went to the gym for the first time in like months, and I knew like I'm not strong, so I'm just gonna do simple 30 minutes, go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like have a good stress relief system too, because like I said, I do burn out, but I know what recharges me: traveling, a good nap, a good snack. So know what serves you and surround yourself with people that serve you too. Just go at it. Don't overthink.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you to not do that because obviously it happens, but if you do, don't let that overthinking get to you, because my biggest motivator is my grandma. Before she passed, she told me there's so many more things she wished she had done. And so I like to live with my motto of, it sounds crazy, but you're going to die. You might as well die happy, not full of regrets.
That's 100%.
Exactly.
YOLO, you know?
YOLO. Yeah, you only live once.
You only live once.
And it's okay if you make mistakes, because no one's perfect. There's not a manual for like how to live a perfect life. And your definition of happiness may be different from so-and-so's definition of happiness, right? So it's like, exactly, focus on what your definition of success is, what your definition of happiness is. What does balance look like to you? Exactly. And surround yourself with people that support that too.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Definitely out of the U.S.
What country then?
I would love to go to Korea, Japan, Vietnam.
Okay.
Yeah, my fiance's from Vietnam, so I love the country. And if I had to stay in the U.S., I would go to a different state.
What states?
I like Virginia. I've never been in New York, but I would love to see New York. I really love how beautiful Oregon is. I've never been there, but I just see it. And I do love Cali. I just wish it wasn't so expensive.
Yeah.
So, or even Canada, or even back home. But ideally, I just want to be traveling all over the world, working remotely for sure. I would love to work in digital marketing, social media marketing for any industry, really. Actually, well, except sports. I'm not a big fan of sports.
Why is that?
I just can't. Actually, like I used to be a soccer girl, but like not anymore.
Like playing soccer or like a fan of soccer?
Playing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Right. Yeah. So like it's just, but I guess for me, it's like over time, like I don't understand the hype. Not that I won't do it. It's just like not. It's not the easiest form of marketing for me because I'm not an enthusiast when it comes to sports.
The people that do sports really know sports.
Exactly.
They're very passionate about it. I know a lot of people here at UNT, they love sports, and that's like their thing.
Exactly.
A lot of people in this class that maybe is being shown to like sports a lot.
Yeah, so please don't take offense to what I'm saying. But maybe beauty. Music. I'd love to work with some of my favorite idols. I would love to work in finance marketing too. I did go to a conference for the first time in August in San Diego where I was a guest and I curated content for Daku Wealth Management, and I really loved the finance sector. So just working remotely, traveling, living my life to the fullest, being healthy, working out, having a degree, and just doing anything and everything I want, I guess. Like that's my definition of happiness. It's being able to do anything and everything I want and staying in good touch with my close friends. Yeah. I would want to be an image to people, and an inspiration to people too. Yeah. Because even though I'm not that big, I don't consider myself that big. I do feel like I have inspired people. When they come to me personally and they tell me that, they're like, "Oh, Liliana, like you really inspire me. I don't know how you do it. You keep me going." And that was my goal all along. Yeah. I wanted to be a idol for people like myself. So I think I would love to inspire people. I love to show people that it's possible, that you can do it, and how to do it, and when to do it, and things like that. So like, for example, for people that love my travel content, how to travel, when to travel, even on a budget. For my people that are into fashion, where I get my clothes, how to get them. I think I would also like to use my platform for the good, especially with everything going on in the world right now. I don't post as much as I would like to, just because generally I have been off social media lately for moving and things like that.
Just busy.
I am just a busy gal, yes. But you saw me like right at that protest when it was needed, I do feel like any platform you have, it should be used for good. And there's always going to be people that are going to disagree with you and that may threaten you, but that shouldn't let it scare you because that's what they want. And I'm not saying you have to be hostile or like violent about it, but use your voice, you know?
Be outspoken.
I'll be outspoken, yeah, because they need that right now. And I know I needed that. So for example, like when I went through Hurricane Maria, I was so frustrated at the lack of help we received as an island.
Yeah.
And that's why I had to leave. And so I need to use my platform for things like that. So I would definitely love to keep growing in social media and influence people and work with brands that I align myself with, work with other people that I align myself with, have a career, have a source of income, and just be someone people can look up to, if that makes sense.
Those are good goals. I like that.
Thanks.
And so where can people find you and support you online? Or
I like to go by Liliana.Nicole with 3 E's. I love my middle name, so it's my first and middle name. On literally everywhere. So TikTok, Instagram. I do have a YouTube channel. I don't post a lot on there. I should, but it should also be Liliana Nicole. And if you're at UNT and you see me, just say hi. I'm always in the College of Business. I do have a LinkedIn as well. It should be Liliana Maldonado for that. If you guys want to connect and work together. And I'm also president of UNT PRSA. Forgot to mention that.
what is PRSA?
It's the Puerto Rican Student Association, the first and only one at UNT. Thank you. I founded it when I was a freshman. So come to our events and don't feel shy. Just come say hi. Some days I may not be my best, but that doesn't mean I'm not happy to see you. So yeah, just any questions, and y'all can also ask Cooper. He has all my information.
Yep. No, I'll let you know if I get any questions. But yeah, thank you, Liliana. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thanks.
So thank you for joining us on the Pathway Podcast. If you're interested in following Liliana's journey, follow her at, what's your social media handle?
Liliana.Nicole with 3 E's. Thank you.
And follow the Pathways Podcast on Spotify and YouTube to learn more about our next show. This has been the Pathways Podcast. Thank you for listening.